right? Like, I would have thought if you got to that point, that he would have been gone. But, like, his arms and his legs and his feet all work in tandem. So it's like, how many pieces of Potato Head would you have to destroy until he's no more Potato? Like, is it
This
all
is
separate
this is the
consciousnesses?
Shibatesius again. This is Shibatesius again.
Could it be the fajita? Could it be the fajita bread? That could be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast, episode 192. Today we have a very, very special episode with the release of Toy Story 5 hitting theaters this weekend as of recording. We're going to be going through the catalog of the Toy Story franchise. And to help me go through the catalog, the first four movies, if you will, I have some guests from Infinity and Beyond. I have the cast and crew from the Out of Time Film Podcast. Tom, John, they're back on the show. Guys, how's it going, fellas? How are you?
Hey.
Wow.
Wow. It's like we never left. We got here. Yeah, we're all good.
We made it once more.
Yes.
You made it. I think it's fitting. You guys, a couple times ago, you talked about your very adorable story, how you guys met outside and like played with like these lightsabers.
Yes.
And you guys are such good friends. And I think it's only fitting to have real life good friends talk about a franchise. It's all about friendship and magic and sticking together and sticking it through thick and thin. Probably the most franchise to do a storyline like that, to be fair. So I'm very excited. And also, I guess I can officially announce, you're like, hey, you missed Toy Story 5. You didn't mention talk about Toy Story 5 because I'm not talking about Toy Story 5. I thought it was trash. I'm not talking about it. I'm leaving it to the dumpster. No, just kidding. This is part one to a two-part channel crossover, if you will, because I will be talking about Toy Story 5 on the Out of Time Film Podcast channel with these lovely fellows over here.
That's right. We're calling it Crisis on Earth Toy Story.
Crisis on Infinite Toy. Absolutely. It's going to be great.
Oh, that's it. That's better. That's better. That's why we've got you on.
Oh, yeah. I'm the manager. I'm the the PR manager, whatever you guys got going on over there. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm very excited. I rewatched these movies ahead of doing this episode, which I adore. Like, those are movies that I grew up on. Those are might be the quintessential nostalgia for me, and I didn't realize it until I was watching them. I'm like, so much came back to me when I was rewatching these movies, and I'm like, oh my god, so much is coming back. It's a absolute great experience for sure. But yeah, no, I before we get into the Toy Story of itself, I have a couple of State of the Union things I needed to talk to you guys about before we directly dive in to the meat and potatoes. First of which here, it's a question for you, John.
Oh, okay.
Very important question. It's about a month ago, there was a very important announcement made by a movie studio. The Minecraft sequel is officially moving forward. It's going to be called Minecraft Square, which I think...
escape from it. I cannot escape from it. This has come back to haunt me.
Surprise, John, we're not talking about Toy Story. We're talking about Minecraft.
It's just a Minecraft episode. Surprise.
Oh
Happy birthday.
What a blunder. You guys tricked me into talking Minecraft. Continue question, Darren. What was your question?
I just need to know on a scale from 1 to 100 what your hype scale is.
Wow, that's a question that I did not expect to talk about here. Honestly, it's definitely going to look like a 2. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is there...
Judging from my anticipation, is gonna. I mean, squared. 2 is a square.
Oh, that's
number.
true.
See, I couldn't. Is 0 a squared number? No. I don't know. But yeah, I'm feeling a 2 out of 100 for Minecraft
Okay.
Squared. Yeah, it's a film that we discussed on the podcast. It was an experience, wasn't it, Tom? It was something that we cannot forget. You know, yeah, it will be forever in my hollow heart. You know, this is something that
Oh no, not
will
your
be
hollow.
there. I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
Yeah. What about you guys? Are you excited for the Minecraft Squared movie?
I feel like next year when we do our most anticipated list again, I feel like someone has to pick it. I feel like someone has to be the brave soul, and it's like, no Narnia, no How to Train Your Dragon, no Secret Wars, Lilo or Minecraft Square. It has to be the choice. I feel like that's number one.
That would be like the Survivor films. Like if someone just sends someone into space, like Armageddon, for example, to go into that. That's going to be Minecraft Squared. You know, there's going to be one person like with a hazmat suit on and just like, remember me, and just go in and just be forgotten.
That's a good idea, John. I'll just send you to watch it, and you can come back and tell us about it.
You're gonna be like leaving trails of like Blu-ray movies, like, oh, what's this? And then just lead me to the cinema all the way there. Yeah.
Oh, a Toy Story box set. Yeah.
Oh, Morbius. That's on Blu-ray. I would have put it in the bin.
Tom, when we did our movie list about 6 months ago,
Oh no, you're not gonna do this to me, are you?
I have a couple of these actually. This is a good one though. I think this is a good one. I left out one of your most anticipated movies of the year.
Oh yes.
Disclosure Day. And it I think it's interesting because we might be two of the only people on the internet that liked that movie.
Oh no, there's more of us. There's more of us.
There has to be.
There's me as well.
Okay, all right.
Three of us.
I came out being like, this was one of the best of the year, and I go on Twitter and it's like, this movie sucked. I'm like, oh my god, all right, guys, I misinformed what I thought going into this movie. I guess my question is, Tom, are you mad that you didn't get to include it on your top 5 list?
I will always be mad. I'll never get over that. Because if you look at what I had to pick, I mean, it was dire.
Wow, it's a very bold list. I think.
Thank you.
Again, we will have to revisit. We have to revisit that list.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Let's not. But no, I'm really like, I loved it. I think that it all. The thing is about Spielberg, and I have watched all of his films. He every
Really?
single. Yes, I actually have.
I've
never mentioned that.
I never heard about this. What? No.
I keep it very well hidden.
Oh yeah.
I think that a lot of people don't appreciate that. Yeah, not every Spielberg film is going to be for you, and I think there's people who are thinking, "Oh, he's lost it," or you need to retire or whatever. And it's like, well, if you didn't like one Spielberg film, I really don't think you should be, having such a major reaction, because at the end of the day, whatever he makes next will be. Even if you don't like it again, it will be very different. And what I appreciated about Disclosure Day was it's a lot of big swings, and those swings work for me. Yeah. But that's better than something completely safe.
I agree. I think he has one of the most, at least, interesting catalogs from a filmmaker. Like, even if you haven't vibed with him for a while, like to Jaws, to E.T., to Goonies, to like West Side Story, to like Disclosure Day. Like, no two films feel alike in its like tone and style, which could be a benefit to people, or could be like, oh, I don't like that he doesn't have a through line through his movies. So I think you're right. There is like at least something in that catalog for everybody, I'd say. So yeah, I think that's a good answer. You mentioned on said Disclosure Day episode, Tom, that you will not be reviewing the live action Moana. What would the movie have to do? Reviews come out for the movie. What is the review, or like what is the thing that had to be said to be like, you know what? Maybe we will.
I mean, oh wow. Let oh
The Rock.
God. I mean, I don't.
Is The Rock gonna come to our podcast and talk about more live action?
Yeah, get Dwayne Johnson on the pod. I think if they said that there's a surprise like post-credit scene, and in it is like Rachel Zegler's Snow White and Halle Bailey's Little Mermaid.
Oh shit!
And
It's
we just
cinematic
go, we just like
universe.
we pretty much just we open the door and they all cross over. That would make me go and see it.
It would be like in that very first Iron Man movie with Nick Fury coming in at the end. It would be like, we're making a team. And then
yes, but instead it's Javier Bardem.
Yes. No,
wow.
I joke with you, but I'm with you. I had it on my schedule, and I think as that newest trailer came out, I was like, I'm gonna put something else in that spot. Actually,
Really?
I'm gonna, which is new for me because I've seen all of those live action remakes. I think I've seen every single one up until this point, and this might be my like. I'm actually gonna tap out. I think I might watch this one on streaming. I don't need to, because I think it's just because it's so recent. Like Moana 2 came out a year and a half ago, and I think that's kind of what's bothered me a bit, where it's like, guys, just make Moana 3. It made $1 billion. Like you can just do that. So like I think this is like the truly one that's like, yeah, this is probably a cash grab. Like I don't like calling things cash grabs a lot because I think people overuse that word a lot. But that is the one where it's like, oh no, you like I think Rock just wanted some money. I think The Rock just wanted a success after Black Adam. This is why he greenlit it or whatever. Okay, Tom, here's the thing I have to mention now. The Mandalorian was in your top 5 of 2026. You said you had faith in humanity, that it would be good, that you would love it. And it's out. It's it's not doing too well currently. It's it's opening weekend.
It's left our local cinema. It's gone. Like I think my dad has almost missed it. I texted my dad earlier and I was like, you know that it's gone from the cinema, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to travel 2 hours to see it.
Which is insane. Like
yeah,
I also do kind of love that things like Obsession and Backrooms are like, no, we're gonna make triple our budget and beat a Star Wars movie. Like it sucks for Star Wars, but also I'm like, that's kind of sick though.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I guess in reverse to my last question, if you could go back in time, would you sub that out for a different movie?
I mean, like probably, maybe. There's a lot of we had infamously we have the Sheep Detectives on there, and that was a big moment for us where I feel and we I look back negatively on that because we were like, what's that? And that's actually ranking for me
we even
much higher.
We discussed it all together,
exactly.
didn't we?
Yeah. We're like, what's that? It's going to be stupid. Actually, no. It blows Mandalorian Gregor out of the water for me. So maybe I'd sub it in with Sheep Detectives, and I'd be like, yeah, this quirky film gets my seal of approval.
I think if we all had a time travel machine, I think we'd be fighting for Sheep Detectives because because that was in my final 2. I picked Sheep Detective. It was down to that or Coyote versus Acme, which I don't know, but like maybe that's the better movie. I don't know yet. But part of me is like, I kind of wish I died on the hill of like Sheep Detectives. Like I wish I died on the like, no, this will be cinema. You guys don't know it yet. Because I did love that movie. I thought that movie was excellent.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. So
oh John, you have to see it.
Missing out.
What?
I cried like 3 times.
Oh really? Wow.
I loved it.
Okay, then I gotta watch this then. Where can I watch this? Where is it on?
I think it's still in cinemas. I think it's I mean, at least here in America, it's still in cinemas. I don't know how the process works for like you guys and how long things stay in cinemas, but
interesting.
Depends on the cinema. I reckon if you go into Central, you'll probably be able to find a cinema still showing it, and you'll be the only guy in that cinema, and you just have, you have a
Just
beautiful
watching it on my own.
experience.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It
Like that John Hamm.
It looks like ours just took it out. I assume maybe Toy Story bumped it out of the priority list, probably.
Oh yeah.
Oh, damn.
But it'll probably be on some kind of service at some point in time in the future. I don't know who. Is that Amazon? Is Amazon on it? Something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
We'll
We'll see.
I'll put that on my list. Yes.
And then to kind of end, I guess I'm ending the segment out with like shitty news, so I do apologize. But I couldn't have you guys on without asking you guys about it. I do have to ask you guys your thoughts on Doctor Who, because that's been very relevant, very big. I know you guys are big Doctor Who guys.
My heart.
No,
My heart.
I can't do it again. Don't make me.
No.
John, you can lead this. Lead it.
Lead this? How am I supposed to lead this?
I don't know. I'm stalling.
We are depressed. That's how we can start off by saying.
Fair.
But we're also frustrated as well because of how Doctor Who's been handled. With Shooty and with the storyline that's been happening, and it just deserves a break, because everything that's been happening, and it just feels like with the stuff, with all the storylines, it feels too cramped, and it's like they haven't really thought out. Like with Shooty, for example, because Shooty he was wonderful. He was a wonderful Doctor.
Agreed.
I loved him, and it deserved that there should be a longer period, with him, like a longer, journey with him, which I just loved, his interactions with the characters and his whole like style as Doctor Who. Like we had Peter Capaldi and Matt Smith and Jodie Whittaker, and how they bought their doctors, and it's just so frustrating how everything was handled, and they didn't really take it into account of like what are they gonna do in the future with Doctor Who, because it just seems like it shows like, oh, this was pointless, by the way, and it's like, no, this would have been amazing if you thought it through and had the time to figure out. So it's just frustrating and really sad that it had to go out like this, and then especially with the finale as well. Yeah, I'll be at the bar drinking alone. So
I feel like, as someone who isn't even like, I've seen the modern stuff, but I'm still catching up on like middle Who. Like I'm in like the Peter era currently. But I'm someone who is like, I could see it as maybe a benefit. Like I think in the long run of things, it could be good, right? Like I like the idea of them being like, guys, take a breath. Like just take a moment, get some new writers, get a new crew, get a new get a new team that has fresh ideas, fresh concepts, and then do another 2005 moment, which was supposed to be Shooty's era. Like they marketed it as like, this is season 1, guys, you can start here, which was not the case at all. Like it was probably the most like connective, oh, you have to know all these things season of the whole show. So do another, like, you don't need to know really anything. Like new Doctor, new companion, new writers, new crew, and then market it as like, start here. This is your new issue number 1. And that's kind of maybe my like optimistic view. I know some people are like, it's never coming back ever. I'm like, I don't know if I would say all that. Like it like just the way they're talking, it feels like they're just trying to like rebrand and refresh and just take a break for a couple years. Although it is sad thinking we may not see them until like 2030 or something like that.
Yeah, it has to come back. It has to come back. I agree with what you're both saying. I think ultimately the thing that stings the most is that they did change that ending of season 2, to try and drum up hype and to try and get Disney to renew it, and it didn't come to be. And Russell T Davies is a good writer. He is still a good writer. He just made Tiptoe, which was a fantastic series. But I just don't think he was the right guy for this. And I think this era was just plagued with stuff. And even so, I was excited to get that Christmas special And
Yeah.
part of me will be so disappointed that, because that could have just been, the cap off. We do whatever we do with Billy Piper. I'm sure David Tennant would have come back. We do Who is the
Full
Boss,
circle.
all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then we can do our hiatus, our reboot. I mean, it's just really sad. I had planned with my partner to watch all the Christmas specials this Christmas, like leading up. And so the day it was deleted, I went to our shared calendar and I was like taking off Doctor Who episodes. Just really sad. Just like, there goes another one. Not going to watch any of these anymore. No. And it is just kind of tragic that had to be the case.
Yeah.
But I think it will ultimately be for the best.
And I think I do think that's the worst part of the situation is the lying about the special. Like, it seemed like it was like a legal situation where they needed to lie to kind of keep it on the whatever for they don't get actually canceled, which I get to a point, but I do think the whole thing of like, it's coming, guys, don't you worry, like it has a great script and people love it, and then it coming out being like, actually we never intended to write it at all. It's like, wait, but you said all these things like for like 6 months straight about how great it is. So I think that's the thing that's like, I get why they did it, but also it's like that kind of like that doesn't instill trust in the system that is working up in the higher echelons of Hollywood and stuff like that. So interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Depression. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna talk about something that's not as depressing. We're gonna be moving into our main topic here today, which has officially, as the release of Toy Story 5, been the highest reviewed franchise of all time, I think. Every installment on Rotten Tomatoes being in the, I think it's 94 or higher in terms of its main releases. I think the lowest rated thing in the franchise is like Lightyear, which is still like, which we're not talking about today.
Canon.
Oh,
it's not
canon. Wow.
I think Lightyear still has like 74% on Rotten Tomatoes though, which still isn't bad. Like, it's still a solid.
That's the same as Cars. The original Cars has 74 as well, and the idea that those two are in the same echelon blows my mind.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think when I was first doing this, I was like, I can rewatch Lightyear, and when it came to rewatch Lightyear, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to. Lightyear. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the first Toy Story movie first, coming out in 1994, which this movie changed like cinema history. Like, this was such a like monumental time in the animation space. Obviously, like, it's the first Pixar animated movie. It was the first animated movie of this style. This was around that same era where they were starting to get like big like celebrity voice cast to do these movies. I think Aladdin was the first one to really do it, but then since then, with stuff like Lion King and this especially, like, you're getting Tom Hanks and a Tim Allen to do this movie. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts. That first Toy Story movie, very iconic. It's many people's favorite Toy Story movie. What's your guys' thoughts on the first Toy Story?
Wow. Yeah, this is like every sense of the way like iconic, because I remember watching this film just so vividly when I was younger, just like getting all the toys and getting all the like Buzz Lightyear, Woody, and then Slinky and Mr. Potato Head, all those things that, I don't know, just made it so, amazing for imagination. Because then you just, like, after watching the film, you just have, like, many stories, to go on, create, with those toys. And I just remember so many scenes, growing up, at the time when I was little, just seeing, like, with Buzz, trying to fly, or with the alien made by the claw, or the amazing scene where with the toy car as well, where they're trying to get to the truck. It really changed my perspective on cinema, because I used to be obsessed with musicals when I was little, and musicals were a way to help me visualize a lot more, with life, but also like understand emotion and facial expressions and lip patterns, like all those things that really made it amazing. But then with Toy Story, it was so expressive and hilarious, and it's when I rewatched it, I was in tears of like how everything came back to me with all the things that I did with the toys, and with the sound as well, like with the song "Got a Friend in Me." It's there's so many amazing things in this movie that you just unpack, and it'll be forever in my heart. This Toy Story is just incredible. So it's just amazing as well. It was like made in 1995 with CGI animation, which is just mind blowing to think. Like if you compare the dog in the movie and then compare to the one to the cat in Toy Story 4, incredible
Yeah.
like transformation you get to see, and the characters in this movie are they're just great. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I was just thinking about before Toy Story 4 came out, me and John sat in my room and we watched 1, 2, and 3, and I wasn't quite prepared for how much John was going to cry in the opening moment of Toy Story 1. Just the first one. It's not even like the big tear-jerking one, but just like you were just crying so much. And I think that is a testament to just hearing that song. That's not even one of the emotional moments, but it is nostalgia, and it is the power of all of that. I have a Woody and Buzz that essentially from the ages of about 3 till maybe like 5 or something, I would literally just carry them around everywhere, to the point where Buzz lost both of his hands because I would hold him by his hand and his hands came off. One of his legs came off because I would hold him by his legs. And then somehow, this one's very impressive, his head. So I guess I carried him by the head and his head came off, but like, who knows? That's that. If that isn't love, then what is? But
wow.
No, there's such a connection to this film, and I think it's almost like a black sheep of the series now, because its humor is so much more kind of nuanced. I would say there's so much more kind of adult stuff, and the characters are so much not unlikable, but like Woody in particular is just such a morally gray guy in this first film. And there also isn't like a big emotional pull at your heartstrings. Like the things that make me cry in this film aren't nearly, it's like a single tear of wow, rather than in the future films where I'm sobbing uncontrollably and I'm just kind of like, gotta get myself back together here. Whereas the first one, like it's so interesting to look back on because it doesn't really follow those similar points as the others.
No.
I think that's interesting because I think that's the movie's strength and weakness, because I think in like one regard, it's not the Toy Story I quite love yet, right? I love the tone and style of 2 and 3 and stuff like that. I love that so much, but I do think its rawness is kind of what makes that first Toy Story so special. You are right. Like, these characters kind of suck. Like, Woody sucks. I think people forget that, like, Mr. Potato Head is, like,
oh my God,
kind of a villain. Like, he is, like, so close to being a villain. Like, he is there. And, like, like, Bo Peep is basically cheating on Woody. And, like, Buzz is kind of like, an idiot asshole. And, like, these characters are kind of, like, they do kind of suck. But I also think that's kind of what makes it so special, especially for Woody and Buzz. They have such giant arcs in this movie that, like, I feel like they never have this amount of growth again. Like, they have growth throughout the other ones as well. I'm not saying they don't, but like from where they start and to where they end are such a large gaps in development. And so when you see that growth and like when you see where they go through from start to finish, especially Woody and his arc of just like, well, I am the favorite. I am the star of the show. And I think my favorite headcanon about Toy Story. I don't know if you guys have heard this or if this is something that you guys have ever, gone into the movie thinking about, but my favorite headcanon, it's kind of been teased throughout the series, is that Woody was Andy's father's toy. That's kind of like the thing that people have said for many years. And so that makes me kind of love that first movie even more, because it makes sense why Woody would be so defensive about losing Andy, because it's like, well, I'm losing a piece of my owner. I'm losing, like, his father gave me to Andy, and this has been a very special relationship, and I've been able to keep this dynamic going because it's been passed down from generation to generation. And so Buzz coming in, it's almost like, oh, you're taking that away from me. You're taking this thing away from me. That I think it's very special, and I think this story is such a palpable one. And its set pieces are crazy. Like everything to do from the Pizza Planet setup to Sid's house. Sid's house is terrifying.
Oh,
Oh
Sid's
my
house.
god.
That was
God.
terrifying when I watched that when I was younger. Like seeing all those messed up, inventions that he made with the toys. That I think that used to give me nightmares. I think
It's terrifying.
because of the it's just the style of the movie that just made it even more terrifying. And especially when Woody like scares Sid as he turns his head all around, and that was absolutely
Play nice.
play nice. Yes,
Amazing.
Oh, crazy.
I love Hannah's moment where she realizes that Sid's afraid of her doll now, and she's like, "Oh, this is my chance to get back on this kid for years of torment." That's what struck me this time around, is that it wasn't just his own toys, but his sister's toys, and I felt so bad for her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
There's
I think
many sorry, go on.
Go ahead. That's fine.
There's so many small details, like with the dad asleep in the room, like in front of the TV, like, you know, with beers and stuff. It's very kind of like telling, watching this back as an adult, like the kind of home that Sid is from and the kind of upbringing he's had versus the way that you know, Andy's mum you know, treats him and Molly in the first film. And I think that's really interesting because the series never since has had a human villain, like, you know, as the main antagonist. Like, of course, we've had Al and we've had, you know, some of the people in 5, but like really the main villain has always been a toy from this point on. And I think that it's interesting that, like, I would say the villain isn't necessarily even Sid, but it's just the idea of like growing up without love.
Yeah.
Especially that idea about, oh, sorry.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Sorry. Especially what you said about like Andy's dad as well. That the idea of love, and you know, with protecting Andy all the way through, that makes even more sense because the theme of that movie is love, which is really powerful. Yeah,
I agree. I think I also love the element of like the matching toys. I think that's such a fun concept. It does make me question about the world as a whole, though, which is like one of my favorite things about this universe is that like it sets up so many questions that they will never officially answer, which I think is a good thing. I don't want the answer entirely because I think it's a fun talking point. But I'm like, okay, when you start putting heads on toys of other toys and arms on other toys, I'm like, who's the toy? Like, are there like 3 minds in the body of one toy? Like how much of a toy do you have to break and take apart before it's no longer the toy it started with? Like, is the like hooker toy 2 different toys combined thinking and working in tandem, or did they die and turn into a new toy once that said thing like, those are things I love thinking about in this world that they create, because they don't ever officially give you the answer of like, why are they alive, how are they alive. There's these rules and sets that they create that, you know, we can't be around humans, we have to play dead. Who created those rules? We don't know. And I think it's a very fun discussion to have out of universe.
Interesting. Well, now, as you said, my theory now, this is my crackhead theory, right?
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna say this is gonna be like rebirth. Like, you know, like humans, they go, I don't know, after they die, they might turn into a toy, and they don't know how they got into the toy, and then that's how
Oh my, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah. As you said, that this is just a theory that just existed now. So
is there like toy Jesus? Are we doing?
Jesus?
Is there like a toy god that like, no, you're going to a Barbie. Have fun.
Oh, like Ken.
God.
Maybe Ken. That'd be. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't expect us to get this deep. This is we're also like ship of Theseusing toy. Like, at what point is it the same toy? Does it?
Yeah.
In
Oh, yeah,
4,
like,
there's the idea of like Woody ends up giving away his voice box, and it's a question
Yeah.
of
Yes.
like, but he is still the same toy, and that's also stuff to kind of that it all grapples with. And there's a moment in 5 as well. I know we're not talking about
Yeah.
5, but it seems so relevant
Yes.
where one toy is like, why did we just freeze? Oh, this
Yeah.
is maybe our purpose. What is this telling us? And I think it's this idea of like, well, they don't freeze. That's the thing with Buzz that a lot of people have said about the first one. Why does he freeze if he thinks he's a space ranger? And it's like, well, it's not really necessarily a choice, but just like a part of who they are that they have to kind of like make sense of themselves.
Yeah. There's even that part in 3 that has always like kind of confused me, because like there's the whole thing where like Mr. Potato Head has to like separate all of his parts
Oh yeah.
to like, you know, and
Oh,
he gets put
yeah.
into like the burrito, and I'm like, I think he's the toy that makes me think the most, because I was like, what part is the soul? Like, it's not the potato bit, which I would have figured, right? Like, I would have thought if you got rid of that point, then he would have been gone. But like, his arms and his legs and his feet all work in tandem. So it's like, how many pieces of Potato Head would you have to destroy until he's no more potato? Like, is it
This
all
is
separate
this is the ship of
consciousnesses?
Theseus again. This is ship of Theseus again.
Could
it be the fajita? Could it be the fajita bread? That could be the soul. That could be the soul right there.
It's like in 2, when Mrs. Potato Head is packing all the stuff into Mr. Potato Head, it's like, can he like feel himself inside himself? Like, is that something that he has like awareness of? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he like in 3, Mrs. Potato Head has been separated from her eye for who knows how long, but like the eye still has like its own autonomy. And then in 1, when Buzz loses his arm, that arm is dead. So like, how does it work?
And then the fact that his arm also adds more muscle. So is that the same muscle, or is that a different piece of wool? What is the wool? Is the wool kind of like some blood or something like that? I don't know. What is it?
Thanks, Darren.
Wow.
I'm really happy that you've opened this can of worms.
I've done my job. I do really love Buzz in this movie too. I think this is, for me, the best Buzz movie easily. I think Buzz is a character that I always love, but it's very clear sometimes they don't know how to write him in some of these movies. Like in times where I'm like, oh well, this is like, they clearly wanted to tell Woody stories, and that's what they did. And I think they do a great job at that. But sometimes it's like, oh yeah, they didn't know what to do with him, that movie. And I think I love his arc, this movie. I think it's a very interesting commentary on when your entire life you were told that you were meant to be this one thing, and then you find out you may not be capable of doing that said thing. And I think it's a story about finding new purpose after your dreams don't quite pan out. I think is really interesting. Like that scene when he's like, he jumps up on the thing and he jumps off and he's like, no, like everyone has told me I can't do this. I must prove it that I can. And as he crashes to the ground, and his whole life turns into perspective as he sees just he's part of a machine. He's just part of a bunch of these other toys in the world. And he himself feels like he's not worth anything. And I think that's, as sad as it is, really good messaging for kids to be like, listen, you may not always make it. You might not do the thing that you thought you were meant to do. That doesn't mean you don't have purpose. That doesn't mean you don't have something good to offer to the world. I think that's, as sad as that may sound on paper, I think there is a really cool messaging there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The first time I watched that, I was just amazed, but also like watched that like really sad, just like, damn, is this the reality I'm gonna face? Well, yeah, it's such a brilliant scene. I think that would be one of my favorite scenes in like of how impactful it was, especially the song. I forgot what song it was playing, but it was just so impactful. When I watched it, it was like, wow. Like I didn't know. Like younger me, I was like, this is incredible for animation. Like I didn't know they go that far into it. Yeah, that brilliant. Pixar just knows how to make those scenes really emotional. Like in Cars, for example, when the McQueen gives Danico that final lap. That kind of like the ending to it. So that's like those things that make it really impactful in Pixar history. I love it. Or like Wall-E as well. Like when Wall-E comes back to life by Eve. Yeah, just those things that just make it so amazing in Pixar history.
I also want to say before we wrap up with the first movie, I know they've have their controversies in current day Hollywood, but shout out to Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. In this movie especially, I think they kind of carried the first movie for me because maybe the story isn't as heightened as some of the other ones. The animation is definitely not completely there yet. They're still learning. And I think the movie is held by these two characters just performing. I think it is one of the greatest animated performances maybe of all time. I think those two together are brilliant, and so much of that movie is just the two of them going back and forth and doing this like dialogue with one another, and it's so raw and it's so emotional, and like I was kind of just listening to like some of the like dialogue in that first movie of those two just debating with like these like philosophical ideas, and it's they give an incredible performance, both of them together by tandem. And I think there's a reason why they have continued to do these roles for the last 25, almost 30 years, because they are so perfect for those characters.
Yeah, the scene in the thunderstorm when they're just talking and Buzz is saying, why would Andy want to play with me? And Woody's saying he thinks you're the greatest thing ever, not because you're a space ranger, but because you're a toy, and all that stuff. Like, I think because of the side characters being so heavily involved with 2 and 3, you forget that 1, they don't really do much, and it is just kind of a two-hander between these other two guys. And then I think when 4 like kind of returns to having the side characters take a step back.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, they should be in it more, but like, I do think that the foundational characters are so strong that you don't necessarily need a big ensemble cast.
I agree. I would definitely agree. I love the first movie. I think it's great. Let's move on to our second movie here. Which is Toy Story 2 coming out.
The best one!
Just a couple years out of the first one. Obviously, the first one being 95. This was 1999. This movie is so interesting. This movie's existence is so fascinating. I don't know how much you guys know about like the behind the scenes things about this movie. I know one of the first things I think is most interesting. Like, I think it's funny people call like Toy Story 4 and 5 these like cash grabs. It's just them making money, which is, I guess fair enough. This one is like the like definition of a cash grab though, because Pixar didn't want to make this movie yet. They had an interest eventually. They're like, okay, yeah, like eventually we would, we'll do one. But Disney at the time was like, no, make Toy Story 2. Like, they made us so much money. We want to sell more toys. Make this movie. And like at the time, they were making A Bug's Life still. Like their main production company was making Bug's Life. They didn't have the resources to make the movie, so they were doing like a separate like video game division at the time, and so they told them, hey, stop making that game and now come over here and make Toy Story 2 for us. And so like there's been a lot of different like production stuff. At one point in time, they had to they stopped making the movie because they didn't like it enough. They had to start from scratch and had to make the entire movie in like 9 months time. There was like a different situation where, and this is the famous one, but like their systems shut down and all the copies of the movie was like deleted, and if it wasn't for the one employee that was home on from having a baby, the movie would have just been gone forever, and it wouldn't have existed. Like, there's so many of these little stories that's like, it was like the universe didn't want them to make the movie, and somehow it comes out and is like fantastic somehow. Like this movie had every right not to be. Like, there were so many reasons why it could have been terrible. But I think this is one of the greatest sequels of all time.
Oh,
Yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. I remember specifically, this is gonna be like such a specific detail how I watched this movie, but this is crazy. So at the time, I don't know when this was. So I think I was four. Yeah, I was four at this, or 4 or 5 at this time. It was 2009, I think, and I wanted to watch this movie desperately, right? And I tried getting it on VHS. I tried getting on DVD or something like that. I don't know the specifics around like what was the actual like home release for this movie. Even though it came out in 1999, I would have found it easily, but I don't know where I could find this movie at all. So my dad somehow brought this different copy of Toy Story 2, and it only works on a laptop. And this is crazy. It was like 2010 or 2009. Like, I just watched this movie on this laptop. Like, I couldn't watch it on the TV. I just watched this on a laptop. So there I was under the dining room table, like all in the darkness, just watching this movie, like as if I'm in the cinema. And I just remember being mind blown of the opening of the second one, like with Buzz like flying through the asteroid belt, and then just being enveloped by the darkness while watching this movie, just under the dining room table. Like, that's how crazy I was. Just like, I wanted to watch this movie in a specific way. Yeah, I think that made me think about like, oh, I need to be locked in for cinema. Like, I want to be I want to be immersed. Like, when I was like 4 or 5 at the time. So yeah, very strange. I just had to watch it on a laptop by a strange DVD. So yeah, that's how I watched Toy Story 2 when I was 4.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that opening scene. I think this is the one for me where Randy Newman's music is just hitting. Like, when
It's
obviously
incredible.
the way that they kind of I would say in many ways they're harkening back to Star Wars with the way that the titles appear on the kind of on the drop. But it's and that stuff's incredible. But for me, it's the build up to like when they cut from the comet to see that it is Buzz, and the horns playing this new theme for Buzz as he flies. Oh my god. It's still, I watch it and I'm just like, yes. It's absolutely insane. And I think throughout all of the music, and this goes for every single one of the Toy Story films, but in 2 specifically, it's so elevated because of the score. I think the way that it so subtly sets up the music that they will use at the end in Woody's Roundup. Like, you see the kind of like the cliffhanger of that penultimate, I guess, final episode of Woody's Roundup, and they use the song that they would go on to use when Bullseye and Woody and Buzz are racing down the runway. And for me, that's one of the many moments in this film where I start to cry, because I'm just like, this is set up so well. This is so perfect. This is cinema. But also, how am I crying at a bunch of toys running after an airplane? Because it's just so good.
It's that good. It's that good.
Yeah. I think this is, to me, when I think they fully find the identity of Toy Story. Like, I know for like so many people, 1 is their favorite, and I think that's fair. I don't think there's a bad, like, I think you can say any of these 5 movies are your favorite Toy Story. I'm like, that's fair. That's a great movie. Easily, I think that's completely fine. But I think this one, while not quite my personal favorite, I think this is the one where they find it. Like, they find what Toy Story is, what it wants to be. Like you guys said in the previous one, they really lean into its supporting cast of characters and this giant world that they created. And I think it's kind of better for it. Like, I think, like you said, I don't necessarily need this giant cast of characters, but I kind of think it's the strength of 2 and 3 for me. I kind of think having these very lovable characters and this heightened plot, like this plot is probably arguably like the highest it goes in terms of like stakes, or I guess not stakes, but like set pieces, like, you know, like we're doing stuff on like planes, and we're going like across the street, and like the whole like the car set piece as they're going across the street, and like the giant toy store, like it feels elevated in every way from Toy Story 1. It's like, okay, how can we go bigger than what we did before? And I think they definitely managed that. This is a movie, like, sometimes there's a movie or show where I'm like, wait, those characters weren't in the first movie? How did we ever watch that movie without said characters? And I think Jesse and Bullseye are two of those characters. I'm like, yeah, they are such a perfect addition to this story, and it's really crazy that we're just now getting to them, and they're just now being introduced to the story. I think they add so much to the overall narrative.
Yes.
Yeah, just the idea that we're almost doing the opposite of the first film, where it's thinking about what are the new toys and what does the current landscape look like, and this one we're like, well, what are the old toys? Let's look back on that. And I think that Jesse's backstory, the fact that they would do all of that, you know, essentially wordlessly. I know the music is telling us so much, but like, you know, it's all visuals.
Yeah.
And oh my god, when that piano melody starts to play, just those first like 4 notes, I'm gone. It's so sad. It's so sad.
I'll say, like, slight spoilers for our talk in Toy Story 5, but they use that as like the main like motif of Toy Story 5. Every time they do it, just like those first 4 notes, I'm like, God damn it! They got me again.
Stop it! Yeah,
don't do this to me again. Don't do this to me again. Yeah, that backstory.
Yeah.
I like Jesse's. I think this is a great introduction to Jesse and Bullseye as well, because again, Bullseye is just iconic, but Jesse just really adds that layer of like the toys, because the whole understanding with toys, you know, being forgotten and, you know, being thrown away, or the idea of that toys have so much sentimental value that you don't realize until you're older. Like, you know, maybe your parents give you this toy, or when you found this toy on a holiday, or like some of the things that you create memories with those toys. Like it's so important, like, you know, because it validates you, you know, what kind of person you are, you know, like what you do with those toys, creatively or horrifying ways to experiment, like Sid. Like it's just beautiful that they thought about that, like how, well, and sad as well, like how they thought about Jesse, and like, you know, once you grow and then you forget about those toys that kind of like made your childhood like amazing in some aspects, because of your brain, and, you know, like what stories you created. And then it also, down the series, you know, down the line, it just goes further, you know, into that idea of like, where would toys go? You know, what's their purpose now? You know, is it changing every time? And that's scary, you know, like with life, you know, like there's certain aspects that, you know, with purpose that changes every time. You know, how do you deal with that? And with Toy Story 2, that's kind of like the first sign of like what's going to happen, you know, with the life, you know, that's going to change, you know, with Jessie leaving behind. It's like, can she do it again? And that's also being explored as well in Toy Story 5. So it's devastating to think about. Yeah,
I love the philosophical stuff we do with Woody in this movie. Like we are, you know, these movies have always been about these characters' insecurities and the characters' fear of what happens when your kid grows up. These are characters with such short lifespans, and these are in a world where you can just be thrown out at any point in time when your kid's done with you. And so I think, and I don't think there's inherently a wrong decision that Woody makes in the movie. You know, when he's placed with like, do you go back with Andy, this person that loves you right now, or do you self-sabotage and just skip the time you have with him now to go in this museum where you can be loved forever? But what are you sacrificing when you go to this museum? Are you sacrificing the time you may have now with this person you love? And I love the parallels to 1 to 2 as well, because I think Toy Story 1 is about Buzz realizing he isn't special. Toy Story 2 is about Woody realizing he is. And I think there's a really interesting back and forth to that. Like, I think that scene when Buzz comes in and he's like, Woody, you are a toy. Like you are this, like when he's like reciting the lines that Woody said to him in the first movie, but now it's flipped. And now Buzz has kind of taken up this role as leader for these guys, and he's the one in the right headspace. I think it's such a good philosophical moment of, like, obviously Woody has this moment of lack of faith, and he has this moment of regression of what he truly means. And I think that's also a really cool story to show, like, how fear and how our, like, insecurities can get the best of us in these times of depression and these times of self-loathing. I think that stuff is so fascinating.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The whole, I came here to rescue a toy who believed that the best thing a toy can do is to be in the arms of a kid, and you're not that guy. It's so fantastic. And also there is your the chances to see more of Ham and Slinky and Miss Potato Head and Rex. And I think that core group works so well with that A plot and our B plot. I never found myself thinking like, oh, can we get back to one or the other? I'm so gripped by both.
Yeah.
And like,
brilliant.
It never suffer. I don't think any of these films suffer from the, you introduce a new character and you're annoyed by them. I think sometimes, you watch your franchise, whether it be film or TV, and the new characters, you struggle to kind of get on board with them more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm really glad that this film didn't, because, like, can you imagine if this film came out now and they introduced Jessie, somebody who's so easily beating Woody up? You'd have people online just being like, "Oh, this is ridiculous. It's woke."
No.
It's like, no, and it's like, no, come on. But we love Jessie, and I think
we love her.
Like, I do really enjoy that she just comes in so frequently. It's just kind of beating Woody up. And every time he challenges her, she's just like, "Don't even try it, mate." And I really appreciate that they take their time. And I think even Stinky Pete, I even understand where he's coming from.
Great, great villain.
Even as such an awful guy, and like such a great presence, especially at the end. Like, you understand exactly what he's talking about when he's saying, like, "Oh, I was on the shelf of a dollar store, and I had to sit watching everything else go, and nobody gave two shits about me." And I think that's really powerful stuff. Even though it's from our villain, like Sid really isn't massively sympathetic, but like from here, I think our Toy Story antagonists, with the exception of Al, massively are.
Al, yes.
Yeah, yes. No, I think Stinky Pete. I have friends who think that, like, Stinky Pete's the best Toy Story villain, and I'm like, I think that's fine. I think that's a great choice. I think Stinky Pete's a fantastic villain. I think he's kind of right in some of his areas. Like, and again, I love how there isn't a bad decision for Woody necessarily. Like, that is, I think there is an argument to be had that maybe he could have had a great life going to, was it Japan, right? And like having that immortalization. But again, it's like, but are you missing out on the time you might have right now because you're fearing of what will happen tomorrow? I think is great commentary. I think that's fantastic. And then obviously how he ends up, I think, is hilarious. Him just kind of getting booted to another kid, and so he will have the life of a kid, hopefully. Give me that spin-off movie of just like Stinky Pete hanging out with the Barbie girl.
And
that whole life.
Yeah, and there's so many great moments in this movie as well, like the bit where we cannot talk about without this scene. It's the one where the guy does his brushing and fixing up Woody.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that is the most satisfying scene in cinema. Come on. The music and the way that he does with the brushes, with the eye as well, and with the boot as well. Like, and it's frustrating as well when he gets rid of Andy's name as well. Just like, no, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And my other favorite scene. But also with Zurg as well. We come Zurg.
I am
is
your
Yes.
father.
I am
No.
no. That's a great bit because then Zurg just has in Lightyear they don't address this as well. In
Oh,
Lightyear
no.
they retcon it.
No.
They retcon it. It's
It's like a buzz
why
clone. Yeah.
why would you do this? That's annoying. But then
Boring.
Toy Story 5 does it again. Not with the clone. Not with the clone. Not the clone. It's the one with the father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
it's so
assume they were.
great.
I assume they were probably trying to avoid like Star Wars like allegations of being we're just stealing Star, which is kind of the point, right? It's supposed
Yeah, that's why it works.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a Star Wars parody, and I mean that was my first.
Silly. I love
That
it.
scene in Toy Story 2 was my first experience with that scene. Like I hadn't seen the iconic Star
Oh,
Wars
no
scene
way.
yet. So like I was like, oh, that's funny. That's like that's a crazy twist that he's his father. Like it wasn't a parody thing to me. It was just like, oh, that's a twist in the movie.
I think that happened to me as well. Like when I watched this as well, I was like,
you
"Oh,
uncultured swines.
Well, no. Here's the thing. No, here's another funny story. So I was watching the Lego Star Wars movie, the one with Darth Vader. It's called The Empire Strikes Out or something.
Of course.
And-
of course.
And then there was the bit where Darth Vader gets kidnapped by what was his name in the first episode with Otto? What was
what?
Tom? What was he
Yeah.
was the guy who was
Watto.
selling Watto? There we go, Watto. And he gets kidnapped by Watto, and then Watto says, Annie, is that you? And it's like, wait a minute, Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader, and I didn't make that connection. Like I didn't see the film at that point, but I was watching this Lego Star Wars movie. Oh, that reminds me of Toy Story 2. So that's crazy. Why would they whip up that?
Oh,
Yeah, that's funny.
I love that scene because this is the bit where Rex is like, I did it, I defeated Zurg, and then the other bus just goes, Father. And I think that's such a great line. The brilliant thing is that I think this goes for every single one of them. They balance the emotions and the comedy so well, and sometimes they come back to back, and it doesn't feel jarring or anything like that. There's just so many brilliant jokes that follow devastating moments in this film, like that I'm your father thing happening with just after the whole like reunion moment, and Woody watching the You Got a Friend in Me performance and like scraping off. I think that cleaning scene is so amazing, but also, and this is something I just love about these films, is how tightly written they are. That's giving an opportunity for him later on to scratch off the paint on his boot and see Andy, which is such a small detail, but so well kind of like placed, and it becomes this metaphor for like Woody's whole journey, that he like scratches off the new paint and looks at like where he came from. But it's just it's so good. And then at the end, like when they're all together again, and he's saying like I'll have Buzz Lightyear with me to infinity and beyond. Yeah, always is now so much more like devastating now that we know what's coming in 4. It's like, oh man, it's amazing.
I do love, like, and this is going to be kind of my like transition point here, but I do love that like each movie kind of leads into each other. Like I think 1 sets up the idea of this like isolation, 2 sees the isolation, and then I love where you end with 3, because like 2 is like building up the idea of like what happens when Andy's gone, like what will happen to you, are you going to be okay? And then like you end the second movie being like, whatever happens, Buzz, we'll be doing it together. And so I think like, especially watching, like binging these movies kind of back to back, the transition from 1, 2, and 3 is so seamless. And like there is a reason why this is like regarded as one of the greatest trilogies of all time, because it's such a it has such a great through line from one movie to the next. 1 sets up 2, which sets up 3, and I'd argue also sets up 4, but we'll talk about that later. But Toy Story 3, 2010, this might be my most nostalgic movie of all time. if I'm being honest with you. I wasn't really like I grew up on Toy Story 1 and 2. I had them on VHS. I watched them quite a bit, but I was 8 years old when Toy Story came out. I watched it on my birthday with my parents, and I just have such a vivid memory of
Aw.
experiencing this movie at the age of 8 on my birthday with my two parents that I didn't see together a lot of the time. So this was such a cornerstone movie for me. The years that preceded that were great too. I had all the action figures. I had the video game. By the way, they are like redoing like the video games for all these
Oh
movies. Which
yeah.
I'm very excited
Yeah.
for. That's gonna be very fun to replay Toy Story 3,
Oh,
especially. But this is the movie. People said, "Hey, you should have stopped here, Buckaroo. You should have ended it here, guys." Which I we'll probably talk more about that once we get to our final film. But Toy Story 3, 2010, thoughts?
This was a massive tonal shift. Like not in terms of like, well, no, it actually is. I would say, because it's like once you start up, with the movie and you see the whole train set piece, which was so cool, with the monkeys, with the red, like I forgot what it's called, and it was so vivid, seeing that on the screen, and then it just all shifted to years later. Everything's just so different. Buster, the dog, is old, and it's like it's so sad. It's like like what we've seen from years and years later, and how everything's with the toys that are dusty now, they're forgotten. Like Wheezy, Wheezy in the second movie got forgotten as well, and
Yeah.
it's like, damn, I wasn't expecting this. That going from 2 to 3, I was like, wow.
I
Yeah.
remember there was a gasp in my theater when they're talking about all the toys that they lost. It's like, yeah, RC and like Bo Peep, and I'm like, oh, they can do that? They can just
Bo
get
Peep?
rid of their
Bo
characters?
Peep, no.
Like, what do you mean you
Oh.
could just like like I don't think I had some moments like that with like Lion King. I saw like characters die and stuff like that, but like this felt like such a like, oh, this is different. Like they're going for a very different vibe with this one. They're taking a different approach with it, and I think I guess not for me necessarily because I was a kid, but like I think in real time it's interesting having an 11-year gap between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3. So I imagine there was probably a real world like, oh, we're getting older. Like all the kids that grew up on Toy Story 1 and 2 and now have their own kids or are taking their own kids to see these movies. And so now they are dealing with the consequences of like having to say goodbye to their toys and all this stuff, I think is very fascinating.
Yeah, and that whole idea of we believe in the mortality of these toys. They really push that at the end. Like
very existential.
in the furnace, you like, yeah, like even now I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, they're gonna die. They are gonna die. And I think that the fact that the film pushes it so far, it's like you never think they're gonna make it. You think, okay, they're going to be in a bit of peril, but they're not going to make it to the point where we actually think they're going to die because it's Toy Story. But my God, they do. And I think that the way they construct it all to make you believe in their pain. I mean, what a concept. So this third film is like, you're going to make everyone sad. The characters are sad. You're sad. And it's just everything is just miserable. And it's like, yeah, it is. And it's kind of just, it's like a massive build-up. And I feel like that from the opening moments of the film, I feel like I'm going to cry. And then the film is just kind of like pushing me closer and closer until the end when it's just, it's like, God, I'd lose half of my body's water just because I'm just weeping.
I think that might be one of my favorite film sequences of all time. I think it's such a well-crafted, well-put-together
so good
sequence. Have you guys... It's one of my favorite, like... I don't know if it was a Vine or like what it was, but there was a very viral video at one point in time where someone edited Toy Story 3. It was the same movie, relatively, up until that point, as like the movie is climaxing, and it's about to cut, and it just cuts to black, right as they're about to be pushed over, and it just cuts to like, you have a friend in me, and this person had tricked their mother into thinking that the movie ends with them being burned alive in the
Oh my
in the
Oh my god!
and the mother's like
Wow.
crying. She's like going like ballistic. It's it's such
That's
a
horrifying.
That's just
horrifying.
yeah, man.
That's evil. I'm sorry. That's evil. Like after you watch
Yeah, that is
3
really-
movies, and
I'll
then
have to
just
send you the
go
clip.
into the
It's so
furnace.
funny.
What?
Oh wow. And that's the kind of thing that often you don't expect. And maybe it's films like Toy Story 3 that make I feel like that often when there's a third film in a franchise or a big installment, people are like, okay, who's gonna die? And I think like that we have got to that point where I don't know, maybe you don't expect everyone's gonna make it out alive. And I think the fact that this is in a position where surely nobody goes into the film thinking who's gonna die in Toy Story 3. It's more just like, you know, what are we gonna watch? And then the fact that everyone in that cinema is watching it going like, what? No, I can't believe it. And, even like when they have such a good way out with Lotso, and he just doesn't like, you know, he's like, where's your kid now? It's like, ooh, that's some good stuff.
Ooh.
I think they do such a good job too, because like you're not disappointed no one died, right? It's like and
Sure.
I feel like we see that a lot with a lot of these like modern shows and stuff. Like, oh man, no one, you know, there weren't any stakes. But I think it's built up in a way where you are so grateful for them just being alive, and you know, you're not having to see, you know, Bullseye go up in flames or whatever. And so I think that scenes that follows it, where it's like the attic, hell yeah, let's, you know, like I will happily go to the attic. And I think it's such a good cornerstone of like, oh, okay, that's going to end with them being okay going to the attic and, you know, whatever, and it ends there. But I think I guess we're kind of going backwards, and then we'll probably, I guess, come back around to like the first and second act. But like the scenes that progress it of like, okay, yeah, they're going to the attic, and then actually maybe we're not going to do that. Maybe we're going a different direction in our Toy Story. And I do think the ending, the final 20 minutes or so of Toy Story, is probably my favorite thing Pixar has ever done. I think how they end that third movie is so masterful and so beautiful, and the story of moving on and letting go, and like letting your past continue on in a very beautiful way is fantastic. Putting, you know, Woody setting up for all the toys to go to Bonnie, this new character we get introduced in this movie, and then him jumping in the box himself, I think is a crazy ending. I think it's great.
Yeah, I remember watching that with you, Tom. You know, when we watched all the movies, and then I was like, yeah, this is gonna get me one. Yeah, after one, with 2, I was fine with 2. There was no tears out of 2. But then with 3, oh man, I was sad and crying, just like all the tears that came out, you know, at the end of that, at the end of the third movie. I was like, damn, yeah, this hit really hard. It's so weird because then when revisiting these movies, as we said earlier, it has like a emotional connection, and you don't, you know, as a kid, you don't really realize about those emotions, but then you realize how it made an impact on you. So with the third movie, I wasn't really expecting to, you know, to cry, but it just had so many, you know, things coming back, you know, with that final section, because I was just like, damn, well, goodbye to that stinky I gave it away. I don't know where it is now. But damn, I just love that entire sequence. As you said, it's massively crafted. I agree. It's just so, it's so sad, man. But bittersweet. I say it's bittersweet. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that like we open the film in the modern day and they're trying to get Andy to play with them one last time, and that ends up happening is oh man, it's so.
I don't want to be sad again.
It's also Randy Newman again, just pulling on our heartstrings with that score, and the kind of up and down of it, with the kind of like sadness in the melody, but also the kind of hopefulness, and to climax it with the So Long Partner is, Oh my god. Oh, like you can see,
Yeah.
even though it's a sentiment that I don't agree with, you can see why so many people were so reluctant
Yeah.
to have any more after that, because it is such perfect closure, and it's not a closure that you
Agreed.
really think that we would be able to comprehend, but they do it fantastically.
Yeah, I'm with you. I definitely have thought the like it should have ended after 3 thing for now almost 10. Well, what, this was 2010, so 16 years since this movie came
Mhm.
out. So like yeah, like this is a sentiment I've been kind of funny, but also I get it. I do get
Yeah,
it. Like I think
100%.
it's such a perfect ending. It's such a perfect close. I think Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 work as such a perfect 3-act structure to a story and these characters and where you end up. And if you did end it here, I think, yeah, it would still be, and I think it still is, but I think, talked about as one of the greatest trilogies of all time, without a doubt for
Mm.
me. I think it's fantastic. And then, yeah, I think everything like, shout out to Lotso. I don't know if we fully talked about him yet. I think my personal favorite villain of the Toy Story franchise. I think Stinky Pete could be that, but I love that he really is just like Toy Hitler. I think that's kind of like I think
Whoa,
Okay.
whoa.
well, love
All
love
right.
in quotes, I guess, love in quotes, but I think he's so evil and he's so crazy, but I think they add enough nuance to make him terrifying, but also
Yeah.
like you get it. Like I think I think it's kind of a carry on to what we were doing with like Stinky Pete, where it's like Stinky Pete's a villain that never got the chance to be played with, and then I think Lotso is kind of carrying on into like the like Jesse stuff, where it's like I was played with, and they abandoned me, and they left me for dirt. But you know what? Things happen. Whatever. We'll make our way back. And the moment where he sees that he's been replaced by the exact version of himself, I think is such a good end of trilogy villain, because that could have happened to Woody and Buzz in the events of 1 and 2. Like,
Yeah.
it like if they had if they hadn't got back to the truck, would Andy's mom have got him a new Buzz Lightyear toy or tried to get a new Woody doll? Like, I think that's such a real thing that parents just do. Like, oh, we lost your toy, we can order another one on like Amazon for like $5 or whatever. Like, that happens all the time. And so I really, really like that they see that from the perspective of like, they just replaced me. Like, I was nothing. And Big Baby could have went back in, or like Chuckles could have went back in. He's like, no, if I can't be loved, no one can. Like, you are coming with me. And he's a character that uses his grief and uses his pain to fuel his ambitions and put other people down because of what he went through. And I think that's just fantastic. I thought he was a fantastic villain.
Yeah, and I specifically remember getting a Lego set. The Lego set of Toy Stories 3, and there was Lotso, and then there was the one, I forgot his name, with the orange like color scheme, and he changes faces like from happy to sad.
Sure. Yeah. I
Yeah.
forget his name, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like Brick or something like that.
Yeah. So with Lotso, he's like, he looks like just like a normal bear, but then it's just terrifying what his philosophies are, in how he wants to control life. Like how he wants to control like how people, or how a toy should be, where they should be, and having that control. But then it also reflects to everything about with life, about like how it's unpredictable. As you said, like you could be thrown out one day and you don't realize, or be replaced, or be forgotten. And they just explore every aspect of that. And with 3, it's such a great shift to reality. I don't know why. I feel like Toy Story 3 is the most realistic Toy Story out of the entire series. What's realism, John? I don't know. Ask Fast and Furious movies. Like, what's that? I mean, with the idea of like, with these films, there's something about 3 that just makes it so heartbreaking and so grounded. Especially with Lotso, like how he was replaced, and then how the toys then face with the existential fear of the furnace, which is like I think the end of the line for all the toys, the furnace. I think that could be that could be like Dante, like with Hell's like circle, the Dante, like that's the final line. That's the last one. That's the last one that they go through. So that's my another theory. That's my another theory, guys. Welcome back. This is John's theories time. We're gonna be
all toys must face the furnace
and rebirth.
I mean that takes us back to like our original queries. Like would that have killed them? Right? If they had gone through the furnace, or would they have been alive as these like mushed up pieces of plastic just like in the landfill forever, like conscious of what they're going through? Like those are the questions that keep me up at night.
Would they have become one? Like would they have like all kind of become one massive cube?
Like
actually
like human instrumentality, like everything comes together, like they could become as one. Wow.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
ultimate toy.
Yeah. Okay, Toy Story 6, guys. I need Sid to come back. I need him to seek revenge on what has been done to him, and just experiment and see, how does a toy die? Can you kill a toy? What does it take?
Wow. And
well, of course,
Sid's in the third one, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yes,
he's the garbage guy.
He's the garbage man.
Yeah, the garbage guy. Yeah, wow.
Which I think's brilliant because, like, ironically, he's the one who brings them back to Andy at the end.
Yes. True.
Yes.
True.
I do like thinking that, like, he goes through life and every time he sees a lost toy, is like, no, I'm taking you with me. We're gonna find you somewhere safe. Like he becomes this like toy like sanctuary person that like goes out and save, which I guess is kind of where we end, like where Woody ends up in the end, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that's a funny moment. I think that's a great moment.
Wait, are you saying that Sid is Toy Jesus? He roams the land and helps toys.
Wait, Sid is Lucifer.
Yeah.
Give me a movie with Sid, man. From Earth, and then he created those toys, and then okay, I'm going crazy now.
It'll be a full like 6-movie full circle. He comes back, and it's his movie this time, and it's about his adventures across the world saving toys. It'd be great. I do love daycare as a setting though as well. I think it's a great setting. I think it's not like inherently not even a bad system inherently. Like I think if they just found a better preschool, I'm like, Sunnyside probably is kind of toy heaven if you're with the right crowd of kids, right? This idea that like you will be loved forever. Once one kid goes away, more come and take their place, and you will be loved forever. And I'm like, it ain't a bad system, guys. Like inherently, if it wasn't like this like regime built like society where you have to stay in cages at night and you can never leave and all this stuff, and obviously the kids they're pretty rough on them too as well, so I get it, but like I feel like we're close to cracking the code for like peak toy experience. I think we're really close there, but it just wasn't quite made for this set of toys.
No, yeah, and then there's the fact that the film also explores like individuality about like how the toys, like with Andy, like all the toys have been lived with Andy, and like how Andy take care of them, and how they kind of like how Andy gives them a personality. I think that's the interesting part about like all those films, that all these toys have given a personality and how they were treated. With the third, with the daycare, there isn't really a personality because all the kids in the daycare are just destroying the toys, and it's like there's no personality whatsoever. It's just like whatever chaos comes to mind, with that. There's nothing for them. They can't really, not really be themselves. Like they can't just stand up and do that. They're just getting destroyed. Like that's the thing that they can't really do forever. Whereas Lotso is just loved, just beloved in that. So it's so interesting how they got into that.
It's such a good smash cut with them being like banged around and tortured, and then Buzz has that smash cut moment where he's seeing Lotso and Ken and the other toys being cherished and loved in the other room, and it's such a good parallel of like, no, if we can just go over there, then the movie wouldn't have
Yeah.
existed. You know, like if they just kind of were able to go over to that room and be played by those toys, it's like Woody probably would have went to college with Andy. He wouldn't have had to go. I mean, I guess he maybe would have gone back because of what he heard, but they would have been like, no, we're good, man. We're actually pretty happy here with these guys. You can go off to Andy, buddy, which is so interesting. But
It's
yeah,
also
and
it's also how Bunny plays with Woody as well in that whole scene,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
how, you know, like he gets that playtime, and, you know, like Bonnie being built up as the kind of the ideal in the way that she
Yeah.
plays with her toys. Another group of like characters they introduced that I'm never like, ugh, you know, cut back to
Agreed.
the guys at Sunnyside. These guys are so boring. Like, no, I think they're amazing, and we get to carry that into 4. And I think that some of those guys have some amazing stuff in 4.
Yeah, I mean, shout out, you know, like we talked about how 4 and 5 doesn't do as much with its supporting cast, and I think that's almost like the biggest disappointing part is that they introduce such a good cast of characters in 3 going into 4. Like I think
Yes.
Trixie and like Buttercup and Shuckle, like these are great toys. These are great characters, and shout out to all the little shorts and specials they did post 3. Like they did a
Yes.
series of like Christmas episodes and Halloween
Yeah,
episodes, and little
wow.
shorts that, like, you know, like the like Christmas episode was like all about Trixie, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. I kind of want more stuff like that of just like spending time with these characters and getting some new like perspectives on some of these guys in like a fun way. But yeah, like we don't really, I think this is the most we really outside of the specials we get of some of these side characters that we meet in 3. But again, like you said, like this franchise is so brilliant at making you fall in love with new characters so seamlessly without much work put in at all. You just love these characters instantly, and I think that's one of their great abilities as filmmakers. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think that, unfortunately, the one thing that sticks out for this film and for 2 and for 4 is that I think that Buzz kind of gets a little bit of a short straw in this
especially
one.
in 3.
I think
especially in 3,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
The Spanish Buzz thing, like, you know, the whole resetting him, I think I would be more okay with if they hadn't have done that in they hadn't have introduced that second Buzz in 2.
Yeah.
And then like we do that again, and it's a bit like, okay, we're doing that
Agreed.
again. And then the Spanish Buzz thing, I just don't really think that it just doesn't really do anything for me. I don't really think it's funny, and I appreciate that, like, you know, maybe that's just kind of my age now. Maybe I loved it when I was younger, but like I don't know. It doesn't really massively, like, there are moments in 3 where I'm like, oh, we could be doing more with Buzz, and like Jesse in 3 does literally nothing, and I'm kind of like, oh, we could do more with Jesse. It's that kind of push and pull, I think, where it's like, okay, this is Woody's story, and so I need to kind of be okay with that, but at the same time I am a little bit, you know, kind of cautious of what they're doing with or what they're not doing with other characters.
It's so, I think it's so interesting too, because you're right, they've done the evil Buzz idea every, I guess 5 isn't really evil Buzz as it was pitched like originally, but like they've done the alternate Buzz thing 4 out of the 5 movies that they've done. And even though I usually like it, and I do enjoy Spanish Buzz, it is a thing where it's like, oh, they clearly just didn't know what to do with Buzz in this movie, which is an interesting thing because 3 was supposed to be Buzz Lightyear's story. Like in the original pitch for it, like something like, from my understanding, it was very like Guardians of the Galaxy, like 3, where like a piece of Buzz is like malware or something gets corrupted or something, and he's like on death's door, and the toys have to go out and find this missing part. But like the like Buzz Lightyear franchise is like dying out, and like all the toys are getting like discontinued and stuff like that. And it was his, like, it was a Buzz Lightyear story in the original draft of the movie. So it's so interesting to like transition that into this movie where it's like, I think he's good in the first act, the first like act and a half of the movie, when he's like when Woody leaves and he has to step up and be the leader, and he's going in and he's talking to Lotso, being like, all right, bud, come on, like don't do this. That stuff is great. I think that stuff is fantastic. But yeah, after that, it's kind of when it's like, yeah, they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Very interesting stuff. Do we have any final thoughts on Toy Story 3? I know it's a big movie. It's probably stuff we haven't talked about, but anything else before we move on from 3?
I love the scene with the phone where he's like, you know, he gives them the rundown of how they need to escape, and the film just kind of essentially pivots into being a prison break movie.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
the whole like kind of like you got to take out the monkey-esque thing.
That damn
becomes a really great way of
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. The monkey.
I was
it becomes a really
terrified.
great like way to utilize everyone's abilities as well.
Mhm.
It's just amazing. And also now we're to watch that back and think, that's the reason why the film The Monkey couldn't use that classic monkey because Disney like copyrighted it for Toy Story 3.
Yes.
So thanks Toy Story 3, because now we have a weirdly different The Monkey.
At the age of 8 in the cinema, I was terrified of that goddamn monkey. That thing was terrifying. Oh my god, I hated that thing.
Scary.
And the lighting as
yeah.
well in that space. It's just terrifying how they've done like this monkey as this like this security guard in a way. You know, just it I don't know why, but just heavily reminded me of Freddy's, like how the aesthetic for the monkey as well, like it just looked so out of place and terrifying at the same time. Loved it as like a Prison Break movie. It's cool. It's cool.
I think this movie does a really good job at using these characters' aesthetics in interesting ways. Like I think the way the purple octopus like sticks to things as he's coming down, and like the monkey uses that to his aesthetic. I love Ken in this movie, by the way, played by Michael Keaton, which is such a funny casting choice.
Oh yeah.
I love your ascot.
Yeah. It's such like they use these characters' POVs in their little settings, and I think they make it work so well into kind of what they're doing. Obviously the like Mr. Potato Head scene that like we talked about like earlier and stuff like that, how he uses his assets to make some really cool set pieces and stuff like that. This is my personal favorite Toy Story movie. This is the one I probably watched the most growing up, and I think it has such a high stakes. It has such a high moment, and so leaving Toy Story 3, many people thought this was going to be the last Toy Story movie, the last outing of this franchise, and then about 9 years later, we get the release of Toy Story 4. Now, this is also an interesting one because, like I said, like many people are like, wait, they're like doing another one. Well, people don't know is that this was probably always the intention. This movie, I don't know if you guys know this, early production on Toy Story 4 started as early as 2011, a year after the release of Toy Story 3. Now, there was a lot of behind-the-scenes things. There were some people at Pixar that had to be weeded out around that era. There was an original draft for the movie. There were some things behind the scenes that happened. And obviously, it had to be kind of rewritten and redone several times until we got to 2019 for its release. It was originally pitched as a full-on rom-com, a full-on Toy Story rom-com with Woody and Bo Peep, which you see the elements there of that movie. But obviously was shifted over the years for certain reasons. I think it's for the best that they waited. I think these movies do best as these event movies. I think there's a reason why these movies make so much money every time, because every time it's been a long time since I've seen a Toy Story movie. And we're looking at like Toy Story 5 being like the highest opening weekend for a Toy Story movie ever. And I think the reason for that is it's been 6 or 7 years since the last Toy Story movie, since this movie came out. And so I think making people wait, making people kind of have that like anticipation, letting these characters sit and not get overly stale from movie to movie is a cool thing. But yeah, what do you guys think about Toy Story 4? They have no thoughts.
I was letting John go first, but I'll go first.
I said this stuff. Yeah, go on, Tom.
I don't, and I think I've been reminded with 5 being out that some people hate this film, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I think that this film, I think it's just so it's one of the most thematically like rich of the bunch, and is I think so well, paced and plotted and structured around Woody as its focal point. I think it's the most kind of like single character focused, and I think that it really manages to execute that well. I think that, like, things have a little bit changed, because I guess when it came out, it was like, okay, this is the epilogue, and when they when like all the marketing seemed to be about, all the interviews were kind of like one last time, and like, what was it like to record your final lines, stuff like that. It's different now because it's not quite that, but even still, I think that it doesn't retread any ground. It doesn't feel stale. I think this might be one of the funniest Toy Story films as well. I just don't understand the disdain that a lot of people have for this film. Like, is it my least favorite of the first four? Like, yeah, probably, but I don't think that I don't think it's a massive step down. I don't think it is even that much of a step down at all. I think that it's like, if I was to give every one of them a rating, it would protect. It might even be 4 9s for me. Like, this film, I think is unfortunately so like overhated, and I think it's great.
I think this is one of those movies, and I think we see that a lot in the modern era, where people went into the movie with this like, no, this shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't be doing it. There is no amount of like open-mindedness going into 4. It was this kind of blind hatred, which, I'll say there are elements of this movie I don't completely love, and we can talk about that in a little bit here. But I think at its core, this movie has such a phenomenal story. This movie is a very beautiful, like you said, epilogue, if you will, at least for Woody. And I think that still stays true. I think it is an epilogue for Woody's character, and who he is, and where he needs to go in this movie. But you're right. Like, this is like, some people say this is one of the worst movies ever made, and I'm like, watch more movies.
What?
Guys,
What
watch even other animated movies. This isn't even the worst Pixar movie. Like, this not even close to being. I don't think it's even the worst Toy Story esque movie. Like Lightyear is right there, guys. Like, point the hate towards Lightyear, not Toy Story 4. Like, guys, come on.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Really, I really agree with all those about, like, with Woody being the sort of focal point of the movie, like, with the previous movies, because there's so many characters that we have to follow, and there's some really good A plot and B plot of those movies. Like Toy Story, that is like the strongest in terms of like characterization. We get to follow the characters, but this one felt very like, I don't know why, because obviously they've done it like round and done. You're like, yeah, this is it, guys. This is going to be the final bit, and this is another strange bit for me, because in high school it was 2019, and I was on the bus, and then someone told me, I don't know why, like, obviously they knew that I review movies on my Instagram post. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut right there. and then one of my classmates came up to me and said, Hey John, have you seen the new Toy Story movie? And I was like, no, not yet. And then he just straight up said, oh yeah, Woody dies, and just walked away. I was like, what?
Whoa.
What?
Oh no.
Just lying.
Okay.
Oh no. Okay.
And that's why I didn't watch it until later. I was like, oh, okay, sure, that Woody dies, great. Thanks for telling me, man. But then after knowing about it, I was like, oh, okay, he just part ways, I guess. Okay. I don't know why that guy lied to me. But no, I agree. This is something that feels like thematically correct, in a way of like, like how Woody goes on a different journey at the end. But then you're like, you kind of torn between, like, with Toy Story 4 and Toy Story 5, because Toy Story 5 is great, but with this, it just feels a bit confusing to think about. It's like, loads of people are like, we should have stopped. We should have stopped. But I'm like,
Yeah.
there's interesting things we might want to see as well.
Mhm.
But then you kind of like, why did they promote this as the last one as well? That's a confusing thing. That's why I feel a bit torn about this.
That was kind of
Yeah,
my
no, I
like
agree with that.
that I think that was always kind of my thing is like I was always down for a Bonnie trilogy. Like when you ended 3, it's like to me, while yes, it's a very finite ending, it's the end of the Andy trilogy. It's the end of that era of Toy Story. But I think 4 kind of feels like it enriches the ending of 3 because you get to see the consequences of Woody's decision at the end of the 3rd movie. Woody makes a sacrifice at the end of the movie. He could have lived his entire life with Andy, with the boy he loved, with with that dynamic. He didn't choose Bonnie for him necessarily. He chose it for his friends. He chose it for the people that he loved. And so 4 is Woody dealing with those consequences. It's him dealing with not being the favorite toy anymore. It's about him dealing with the consequences of that and him dealing and coping with his decision. And I think that alone kind of makes it a valid follow-up to the 3rd movie. It is a character piece for Woody. And what does it mean when the person that you have put all of your love, when your entire personality is tied to one person, what happens when that person goes away? And I think being able to lean into that aspect to Woody's character, to me, is such a fascinating, finite direction to take him. And I think it's a movie about finding a new love and finding a new direction and kind of rediscovering who you are. I think is a really interesting approach.
Yeah, and for him to for his actual eventual purpose to be tied to helping other toys. It's like, yeah, that's Woody's. That is his calling. That's what he's been doing this whole time. He's been helping others. He didn't need to say to Jesse and Bullseye and 2, "Come with me." He didn't need to help Bud when they were both trapped at Sid's, or even like grab him when they were in the claw. You know, he could have always saved himself, and that he always goes back for his friends. And so the idea that he would become that that helping hand for toys just all over the place is amazing. And I think that the whole film from the beginning, with Bo saying to him kids will come and go, and that's okay. People will come and go, and that's part of life. It's a great idea to bring her back. I don't think this film would work nearly as well if you didn't have that anchor to the past that Bo Peep kind of acts as. Like, she's great. I love her new look. I love that, we just get to see more about, like what she's up to. We get to know the name of her sheep. Fantastic. I love as well that, she's porcelain. Like, how does that even work? And so that idea as well, being like, she's not just going to break immediately. And even if she can patch herself up, all fantastic. And I think the thing just kind of, watching them essentially back to back, it doesn't feel, unnecessary or like it's kind of really reaching. It feels, as you say, like a kind of logical next step.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think going back to the Woody thing really quickly, I think his journey in all 3 Toy Stories are him dealing with his own selfishness. Each Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 has an arc of him being selfish and then realizing, no, I need to sacrifice for the people I love. They do that at the end of 1 with Buzz and having to bring Buzz back because that's what's best for Andy. He sacrifices his own experiences at the end of the 2nd movie to go back to Andy, and then he sacrifices himself once again for Andy, for his friends, and for his friends to have a better future. And so I think this movie, how it ends, is about him finally letting himself be happy and letting himself have a future and feeling good enough about himself that he doesn't have to look out for Andy anymore. He can finally do something for himself. His friends are happy. Andy's moved on, but who is Woody without all that? And it's him finally letting himself. I think that scene in the first couple minutes when he's saving Bo, and Bo's like, "Toys get lost every day, Woody. You can come with me." And he can't do it. He can't let himself leave Andy behind. The scene later on in the movie when him and Forky are walking, which I love that sequence. That whole sequence I think is incredible. He's like
Amazing.
Andy needs you. I mean Bonnie needs you, and it's him still not fully accepting that Andy is gone, and him still coping with the loss of him. And Woody was never truly Bonnie's toy. Like, yes, she had, he had his good times with her. They have their history, but that wasn't his purpose anymore. Like, his purpose was completed at the end of Toy Story 3, letting Andy go. Where do I go from here as a toy? And I think that's great. Sure.
Yeah, I love the as well, like Jessie is the one that Bonnie is more interested in. Like, she's the sheriff, and that makes a lot of sense. Like,
yes,
it's unfortunately it's that thing again where like Jessie, a lot of the other characters don't have loads to do. But even still, that idea I really enjoy, and I think there are a lot of really great moments with those guys. I love Buttercup's whole thing of like wanting the dad to get arrested. And then that kind of coming to fruition at the end with the cops getting involved with the RV, and Buttercup being like, yeah, dad's totally going to jail. I think that's so funny. And the whole, like, yeah, that it's all very much in service of Woody, but I do enjoy that we still get a lot of other fun hijinks with other, like, I love Duke Kaboom. What a fun character.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. And a bit of a spoiler, he was, in Toy Story 5. He was in 5.
Yes.
And as a small bit. But then I noticed about I just forgot the two names. Keel and
I think it's just Ducky and Bunny.
Yeah, Ducky and Bunny.
That's very self-explanatory.
Well, my brain's just like thinking all the names because there's so many characters.
What are they called?
He's a duck and a bunny. What are their names?
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just like still reeling from the tears. But no, they appear in Toy Story 4, Ducky and Bunny, and they don't appear in Toy Story 5. So it's interesting, like, in terms of like characters, like how many they can fit in.
They make a small cameo. They make a
small
really
cameo.
Small,
They make a voiceless cameo. I love Ducky and Bunny. They're so funny. I think they are such a delightful addition to 4. The scene where they're about to go in the merry-go-round and they get like swiped around, and like while the scene is happening, they just keep it. Like, I just think I think the film is.
They're fun. They're
really
fun.
really funny.
Yeah.
And also, like, Gabby, I think, is an amazing villain. I'm so happy that they don't do a twist villain. They do, like, the opposite. I think that Pixar and Disney had an era of twist villains, and Lotso and Stinky Pete are 2 of their very best. But the idea that we did 2 twist villains in a row was, it doesn't feel tiring, but if they'd done it again in 4, it would have been. So the fact that they're immediately like, oh no, this is the villain. Her first scene, it's like, we know what her deal is. But they kind of flip it on its head and instead say, well, actually, no, maybe she's not a villain at all. Maybe she just wants her chance. And again, Woody's the kind of toy that would give that to her.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting psychological story. I think it kind of like is kind of a spiritual successor to Stinky Pete, because we're seeing in real time what Stinky Pete had to go through about sitting on a shelf for years, never being played with. And so we're seeing that kind of from like a different perspective. Someone that just like was literally born looking at the pages of like of the paper of being loved. Like you are made to be loved by a child and just never can get that. The scene where she has the voice box now, she has told herself in her mind that I need this one thing in life. If I get this one thing, they'll love me. I'll finally be loved. I will finally be worth someone's time. And the scene where she picks him up is like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, throws her aside. I think is really important for children to see. I think that's a great takeaway for children to be like, listen, sometimes people just don't love you. Sometimes people, for like whatever reason it may be, if it's how you look, if it's how you act, some people, like, you are not meant for everybody. You are not meant for every person. And I think showing that there's always going to be someone out there that will love you, that will appreciate you for who you are, despite if you have a voice box or not, is important. I think that's such a good messaging. Sometimes I wish we had a little bit more time with her, because I do think the heel turn happens, like, I think from villain to not villain happens like really quickly. So maybe like a little bit more time in the second act, kind of bridging the gaps perhaps I would have liked. But I do think she's a very good villain. I think she's very good.
Yeah, and then with Forky as well, it's interesting
The
because
goat.
you know the goat. He has, you know, such an existential like idea about like what does it mean to be a toy, and what it means to be loved, which is a fascinating concept, because as we go through the storyline, guys, as we go through, it's like rebirth and, you know, the furnace. Now we got Forky's like going through like an existential like, will I be loved? Will I be known? Is there something that I can do like as this being? And then gets you know, introduced by Bonnie, and then, you know, Woody introducing like the idea of like what it means to be a toy, you know, what it, you know, kind of like what it means to be alive in a way. That's kind of like showing you like that those aspects as well. Like it's incredible. Like, you know, it makes you think about the creativity about like with Forky, like he just came into being, you know, as this Forky. You know, like, there's something interesting about that, like to bring into 4, because it's like, can you make toys out of anything? Is that a thing now? Yeah.
That I think opens up our like back to our like world building discussion of like, what are the rules exactly? So like anything can be a toy. Like if I go get my batteries from the other room and like and I pretend they're army men, would they then become alive, or does there have to be this like element of like does giving Forky eyes and a mouth and a nose, is that what allowed him to be alive? Like does he have to have an element of like features? And like we kind of get into that a little bit in 5 with the like lily pad, which, you know, we're not talking about here today, but like I'm like, well, like how does that work? Like if like a lily pad can come alive, could like a PlayStation come alive? Could you know like what about like a like remote control? Like could that become alive? Like what are the rules to this world? And like what are the like qualifications? But I definitely agree. I think like really embracing like the like imagination of a child, and that like anything can be a toy, in the idea that like these characters are so imaginative and they have such wide imaginations on what they can do and stuff, I think is a really special idea. And I unfortunately laugh every time Forky tries to like jump out the window or like jump in a trash can, like that whole sequence when he's just like consistently trying to get away. It's kind of peak comedy gold. I think it's great.
Yeah, oh, it's so amazing. It's a great one as well, because like the moment when Woody finally breaks through and Forky realizes, oh, that feeling that I get of comfort of being trash is what I'm giving to somebody else, and that's kind of beautiful. And the scene where a scene that didn't expect to make me cry is where Gabby finally finds you know, a kid and that lost child, and she kind of, you know, bets it all, and they're like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. And, you know, she manages to give that comfort. It's like, damn, that really got me. I didn't think it would, but always it's just this idea of like, you know, it can just be as simple as being a friend, and that is you know, like invaluable at the end of the day. I think it's so amazing. And but when Woody is wondering whether to leave, and Buzz says she'll be okay, no, Bonnie will be okay.
Yeah.
And how they do that whole ending of him saying goodbye, just like 2 and just like 3, you could end the franchise there, and it's a perfect ending. Like, you know, I understand every time someone says, oh, it should have ended XYZ, because yes, all of these things do serve as wonderful conclusions, and the whole To Infinity and Beyond. from Woody and Buzz as the final, as
Yeah.
the, well, I guess as what was the final time that they would see each other, is cinema.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's such a perfect moment, and I think like we'll talk about. Actually, I guess I'll save it for when we talk later in the week, because I do think like it like ends in a way too where it's like I think they did a good job at how they reintroduce that character into the plot, because I do think it does service this movie and kind of the ending of where they left him as well. So I guess we'll talk about that at a later point. I will get into some of my criticisms with this one. I like this movie a lot. I especially on my latest rewatch. I did not like it when I first watched the movie. There were things I just did not enjoy. Like when I like in 2019, I was like, I don't like this movie. And I think this latest rewatch, I was like, oh, I really slept on this movie. Not a fan of Buzz in this movie. That's like my big like I kind of strongly dislike how they handled Buzz in this movie. I think it's one of the biggest downgrades in a character development I have ever seen. And I understand this is a Woody movie. Obviously, it's very focused on him, but this franchise has consistently had a trouble time knowing what to do with Buzz. And I think giving him this like voice in my head, it feels like such a dumbed down version of the character, especially coming off of 3, where he was such this capable character that was like swinging off things, like leading the group. And I really wish we leaned in to at least a couple of the side characters a little bit, and we leaned into like what are you to the group without Woody. I think I would have more appreciated from some of those side characters. Like the movie ends with like Woody giving the sheriff badge to Jesse, and I think that's a great moment. I think it's very fitting, but also I'm like, I kind of wish we got more of Jesse leading up to that moment of just like there's that one moment where she like pops the tire and like stall, like that's great and stuff like that. But I would have liked more from both Woody and Buzz, seeing them lead the group and like show that they don't, even though they need, like they like Woody and he's a big part of the group, they don't necessarily need him anymore, and they're capable of doing this on their own. Maybe something like that could have been more satisfying in my opinion. But yeah, I just think that like, what should I do? Oh, this I that felt to me like a executive decision higher up, being like, make it funnier, make it goofier, like is I'm also I know you guys really liked it. I'm also not a huge fan of the whole like RV bit personally. I think bits of it are really funny, but I do think I guess I don't love how like connected they are to the human life. Like I think them like being a GPS to humans and like stopping the car and starting it, and I think it's a slightly step too far in my opinion. Not to say it's a bad scene. Like I think it's I do think him getting arrested is funny. I think that's a funny bit, but I don't know. It feels maybe a little bit too involved in the humans' lives. And I think both 4 and 5, like both 4 and 5, they are a lot more connected to like the human world and stuff like that, and what they can do and stuff like that. So I don't think it's bad necessarily. It was just a bit too much for me personally, but I think it's a great movie. I think those things make it like the weakest for me, but like I have this conversation a lot where it's like the weakest thing doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just there has to be a weaker one, and this just happens to be it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say something.
Go on, John. Go on. I'm leaving the floor open for you.
What I was gonna say? Oh, but no, I do understand that, because the toys are, seen as kind of like not like a myth, but it does feel like there's something that, I don't know, like causality in a way. Like they don't want to like get involved with the humans too much, or that would like disrupt the flow of time or something. I don't know. I'm being silly. And it, I feel like there is something in that they should have explored a bit more with Buzz and with Woody, because they are the two iconic, characters, from the start, and how they have so much conflict with each other, but then they start to grow with each other and learn about each other in many different ways. Like Buzz learning that he's a toy, and then realizing that there is some strong leadership skills that he can develop along the way, especially in 2, like how they all try to find Woody in that space of time. And then there was a speech that that Buzz did in 2 that we all forgot. Like there's 2 different versions in 2 where where he's either standing in front of the American flag or the moon or something like that. I don't know why. I remember there was 2 versions of it, like you get to see.
Yeah, one is like the globe, and that's what you get if you're not in America.
Oh, globe.
I think.
Yes. And I was so confused. I was like, why is there a globe? But then I saw that there's the flag as well. Yeah. So
we had the flag one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, with that idea. It's like with Woody and Buzz, there should have been a bit more of that really in order to like see that character growth, because it's like you are connecting that all the way through, really.
Yeah, I think also especially like people forget that through most of the second and third movie, Woody and Buzz aren't really together for most of those movies. Like they are separated for the most part. And I think one thing about 4 and 5, I definitely will like commend them on, and I won't talk about 5 yet, but like they are together for those movies, at least a lot of those movies. And like this is a movie where they are kind of on the same mission for a lot of it. And again, I think there was some commentary that could have been had there that I do sometimes think we skip over a little bit for the sake of like comedy bits in the movie. But it's such a strong story, I think, in the main story, and I think the Woody stuff is so strong on its own. It almost makes me be like, it's fine. It's, you know, it happens. It's whatever. And yeah, I think it's definitely a very interesting outing to like start this new trilogy of Toy Story movies, if you will, which I guess kind of leads us to the end here. I mean, obviously we have one more Toy Story, which we will be discussing on another channel completely. Tom, John, do you have any final thoughts on any of the Toy Story movies that we have talked about today?
I don't think so. There is one more.
There is another.
There's another.
Yes.
There's another. We're not done with Toy Story. We have one more, which we will be talking about on the Out of Time Film Podcast YouTube channel sometime in the future. I won't say the date yet because I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out, but you guys can have a look out for that, and I will let you guys know exactly when that is coming out. Tom, John, thank you so much for being on the show. Anything you guys have to shout out, promo, obviously you do because of what we're doing, but what you working on, guys?
Well, yeah, we got Toy Story 5 coming up, obviously. That is, I think that's this is being released this week, right? This
I think it would be this upcoming Thursday. This next Thursday.
Right.
Yes.
So our Toy Story 5 video will be on the Sunday. So merely 3 days after that, everyone can enjoy our conversation there. And then we'll just be talking about all the major film TV releases of the summer and indeed beyond. So just, you know, I think Supergirl's after Toy Story 5, and then plenty. I'll just see Spider-Man. Plenty of stuff coming up.
Yeah, we're in for a ride, you know, after this whole thing.
We are.
So many movies. We are, yeah. Thank you for having us, Darren. Thank you.
Of
yes,
course.
Thank you, as ever.
It's always an absolute pleasure. Love chatting with you guys. I knew, like, I was searching through who I wanted for Toy Story. I was like, I need someone who likes Toy Story 4. And I was like, they said they like Toy Story 4 because it's hard to find people that actually enjoy Toy Story 4. It's always a pleasure. And then await for part 2 of our discussion over on their channel. Obviously, we'll link it once it's out. And stay tuned for part 2. And
same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Next week should be actually very similar to you guys. Supergirl, I think, will be the following episode after this is coming out.
Ooh.
And then I think after that will be our Spider-Man Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2 retrospective stuff as we are going through the MCU currently. So, and yeah, without further ado, I will catch you guys on the flip side.